So without further ado, I really want to try and position how and why we're positioning eBusiness solutions in and amongst your commercebuild web store and your ERP system. So as we can really see on this slide here, the ERP is always the center of the universe to us and to you guys too. And the web store is a natural extension to your ERP for sure. But really, we've got other solutions here that we've been working with over the last year or so, really trying to pull in e-business solutions that are really going to help drive your business forward in many different areas, and specifically in areas that typically interact with the ERP system and with the web store too. So we actually have 2 webinars that we're running over the next few weeks. In the next session, we'll talk about that a little bit at the end of this one, but that one's going to involve more about the sales tax and the vendor portal side of things. But today we're really pleased to present a Punchout solution to you, and also a product information management, or PIM, solution to you. And we can see really in this diagram how we're trying to position how each of those solutions actually fit with your ERP and your web store. A Punchout user here, Punchout is actually kind of a bit of middleware, if you like, that really sits there and you don't really see, but your buyers are using Punchout to connect to your commercebuild store and connect to your catalog, add items to their cart, and submit those items for purchase. But equally, the Punchout interface there also passes the data back into your ERP system as a sales order. Our partner Dan from Greenwing Technology is going to take us through how Punchout works. And equally, we're also going to spend some time looking at product information management systems. And our partner Trevor here from Plitix is going to take us through how product information management is really it's becoming one of those real key buzzwords that everybody talks about now. And really what we want to do here is position how a PIM can work very nicely both with your web store and your ERP in terms of managing that core and key product data. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce a couple of our partners to you. And we've taken the decision here at commercebuild to really use partners with their great solutions, rather than trying to create the solutions ourselves. Far better these days to use a best of breed approach. And so today we want to present to you Greenwing Technology, represented by Dan, and Plitix, represented by Trevor. So I think without further ado, Dan, let's hand this over to you, and please tell us more about Greenwing.
Okay, great. All right, well, thank you, Paul. Yes, hello, my name is Daniel Geiger, and I'm with Greenwing Technology. We are Punchout catalog and eProcurement specialists, and we are proud partners with commercebuild. A little bit about our company. So we started the firm Greenwing Technology 14 years ago, 2009, 2010, with the sole purpose of providing supply-side eProcurement services for distributors, retailers, manufacturers, and wholesalers who trade business with large organizations that use eProcurement systems. Mainly, our bread and butter is Punchout catalog integrations. However, we also provide something that is called hosted catalog management services. So just a real quick definition of what a hosted catalog is. It is a spreadsheet, a flat file. Think of an Excel spreadsheet of all your product data, your product name, product description, pricing, all that good stuff. So we help suppliers develop and create a hosted catalog file that they can give to their eProcurement customers when Punchout catalogs are not an option. So you have eProcurement customers and they like to order from you, but they don't want to do Punchout. The next step or next option is a hosted catalog. So we help companies provide an effective hosted catalog file. Other than that, we also offer CXML related services for suppliers. So we help with PO, purchase order invoice automation, electronic invoicing solutions, and advanced ship notices as well. We are currently 19 team members and growing. We are currently hiring right now, looking for some technical support specialists, but it's been challenging finding people to fit our company and our culture. But yes, we're a growing company, and like everything else in B2B e-commerce. We came from web development in 2000. That was my background, and my two partners' backgrounds is programming and web design. It wasn't until I would say about 2007, we had a customer that came to us just kind of randomly, and they said, hey, I have this university customer, and they said, I have to do this thing that's called Punchout. And we had no idea. This is 2007. We had no idea what Punchout was. And he just asked us if we could help him. So we said, sure, send us over the documentation where they have, and we'll take a look at it. So they sent it over to us. We spent 6 months muddling our way through it. But what we noticed was that there's an opportunity here, because Punchout, it flies under the radar, but there's a lot of companies now that are using this thing that's called eProcurement, and it presents an opportunity for retailers and distributors who sell to these companies, because it's e-commerce. It's essentially taking an e-commerce catalog and integrating it directly with an eProcurement system. So we just saw there was not a lot of companies providing the solution. So we took a leap of faith, and that's when we incorporated Greenwing, and haven't looked back since. So that's a little bit about us. A little bit of our services, as I mentioned, Punchout catalogs. That's our bread and butter. That's how we started. When we first went into business, there wasn't a lot of B2B e-commerce platforms. Other than Magento, there wasn't a whole lot out there. So we actually created our own e-commerce system. We call our managed platform. Luckily, there's a lot of better systems out there like commercebuild. So we prefer to actually partner with companies like commercebuild to provide these Punchout integrations. We integrate with well over 120 eProcurement systems. It doesn't matter to us. If there's a procurement platform that has Punchout capabilities, we can connect to it. I would say this year, it's probably over 150 systems. So, and there's new ones popping up each year, targeting a different industry or category. We also provide electronic purchase order automation. So what happens is we can receive a PO from an eProcurement system, and we're able to pass that directly to your ERP, your Sage ERP, or your Microsoft ERP system. And in turn, we can take any invoice that you generate, and we can actually automate and send that directly to the procurement system without having you do any manual work. We also offer Punchout training. So it's one thing to have one Punchout integration, but when you really start to see the benefits of Punchout is when you begin to grow those integrations. So we work with customers to identify possible opportunities. People realize, oh, you know what? We sell to this hotel chain, but we also sell to this casino, and they also use an e-procurement system. So, it's funny how these opportunities start to pop up once you're Punchout enabled. So we like to work with sales reps and sales companies or salespeople within an organization to find those opportunities. And also EDI. So it's a little bit of the bane of our existence, but EDI has been around forever and it's not going away. So we do also provide EDI translations to help people, receive those invoices and to translate those EDI invoices into a consumable format for your ERP system. So what is a Punchout catalog? Quite simply, it's an e-commerce website that allows an institutional buyer to buy directly from their e-procurement system. So in our case, it would be using your commercebuild web store and connecting it directly to your customer's procurement platform. And what is eProcurement? So eProcurement is not new. It's been around for almost 30 years. A company called Ariba started the whole revolution. But eProcurement, it's software that is used in the process of requisitioning, ordering, and purchasing goods and or services online. It's all about spend management. So these large organizations, these huge companies with thousands of employees with locations all over the globe, they need a centralized platform to manage all of their spend issues, their supplier contracts, the invoicing, the PO, all the payment information. There was a need for a solution, a platform to handle all that. And that's how eProcurement came about with the .com explosion, with everything else. But the process itself, within eProcurement, it also includes Punchout and electronic POs and supplier invoicing. So eProcurement itself, it's not new. It's been around for a while, but it's growing, especially with the COVID pandemic. I would say over the last 5 years, it's almost 100% growth, just because people realize they have employees working remotely. They need tools and software that can enable that. And eProcurement has grown. People have adopted it. Common eProcurement platforms. Number one is Ariba. They're the grandfather of the whole industry. As I mentioned, they started in 1995. And they were successful enough to make it out of the .com explosion in 2001 and were eventually bought by SAP in 2010. They typically go after public, large Fortune 2000 companies that can afford $1 million budget. And then Coupa is another very popular platform. They started in about 2009, and actually they sold this year for $9 billion, which is quite impressive. They had huge backing from Silicon Valley investors, so they were built to be successful. But they also target similar companies to Ariba, large corporations, but they also go after higher ed. And I also noticed they have quite a few startups, a lot of Silicon Valley startups with a lot of funding. Another system is Jagger, used to be known as SciQuest. They formed in about year 2000. They focus exclusively on higher education. So just about every university uses Jagger. And there's also Oracle. We see them quite a bit. So many businesses use Oracle products. So it makes sense to also utilize an Oracle eProcurement solution. So we run across them quite a bit. All right, I'll take you real quickly just through a simple Punchout catalog workflow. First, your customer, your buyer, they want to buy from you. So they have to log into the eProcurement system. And when they're in the eProcurement system, they navigate themselves to the eProcurement marketplace. And within that marketplace, there will be your logo, your company's logo. So first, they'll click on your company's logo, and then they are logged out of the eProcurement system, and we drop them via the Punchout integration into your commercebuild website, so that now they can shop and get that nice Amazon.com shopping experience that they like, and they can build a shopping cart. When they check out, what's unique about Punchout from other forms of e-commerce is there's no shipping, billing, or payment collected. All of that is stored on the eProcurement system. So what happens is we take that shopping cart now and we send that data back to the eProcurement system. And then within the eProcurement system, your customer submits that requisition for approval. And once it's approved, then by a manager, procurement manager, a purchase order is then issued to the supplier, and we can grab that purchase order and send it on its way to your ERP system. There are many different markets that tend to favor Punchout. When you think of Punchout, think of business buying, right? You have business customers, and they do repeat ordering. They're buying from you every month. So the whole idea of Punchout is making it seamless, making it easy. So just in our customer base, we work with a lot of laboratory, a lot of lab suppliers, scientific suppliers. They sell to pharmaceutical companies. They sell to hospitals. They sell laboratories. All these systems or all these organizations, they use eProcurement. The same can be said for electrical suppliers, office supplies. All corporations, they need paper, they need pens. So they have suppliers that sell them that. Same with MRO, industrial, same with IT. People have IT needs and promotional items. Who doesn't need tchotchkes or widgets when you go to a trade show? So you have suppliers that provide that. So if you're a company that has these types of items, you may have some big buyers that use eProcurement. Same goes for energy and chemical, and essentially any vertical that has institutional buyers and that does frequent reordering. That's usually a case where let's start to investigate to see what type of eProcurement or procurement system they're using. And then let's look in further. Maybe Punchout's an option. What does it look like? So we are Coupa Connect partners, and being a Coupa Connect partner, they give us a sandbox environment of their system so we can show it off and present it to companies that might be interested. What does it actually look like? What does our customer actually see when they click on us to punch out? So here's how it looks. And this just a very basic demo. You'll see Amazon, of course, they're just in about every e-procurement system. Granger's popular, Barnes & Noble, there's our little test catalog, Home Depot, Staples, Stratex, there's commercebuild. So if one of your customers were to click on your logo here, they're going to punch out and go to your store. And I'll show you very quickly at the end a little demo so you can actually see how that works. The commercebuild Greenwing integration, as Paul mentioned earlier, it's middleware. We are invisible. We fly under the radar, and that's how we like it. What we do is we just allow your commercebuild catalog to interact with the eProcurement system. All we do is we allow you to pass information back and forth seamlessly. And the whole concept of Punchout is just automation. It's all about automating the order process to make it easy for your buyer to do business with you. The three biggest mistakes companies make with Punchout. So after doing this for 14, 15 years, you start to see some commonality among companies that are successful and companies that have issues with Punchout. So number one, I would say is wait too long. Don't miss the boat. Oftentimes people come to us in a rush, in a hurry, that their customer is demanding they do Punchout now, or they're going to start buying from their competitor. And that's okay. We always figure it out and we always get through it fine. But it's much easier if your customer comes to you with a request just to look at documentation. So we start early on because it just makes the whole process, again, more seamless and easier than like a rushed integration where we're missing things or everything's kind of out of sorts. Number two is not involving your sales team in the process. So it's important, just the whole concept of digital transformation is having everybody on board and having everybody part of where the company is headed, and that's really important to have your sales reps as part of that. Punchout's not a threat to their job. It's just, if anything, it's another tool that they can use. When they're talking to customers and buyers, look for keywords like procurement, like Ariba, like Coupa, because those are opportunities for Punchout, and once you're Punchout enabled with one customer, it's very easy to connect you to any other system. And as I mentioned earlier, that's when you really start to see the benefits of Punchout, when it really begins to open up a whole new sales channel and new sources of revenue that you never realized before. And number three is lack of integration with other systems. Of course, it's, again, with the digital transformation, everything is more seamless when your ERP is tied directly with commercebuild and the Punchout works seamless, and we're able to pass POs and invoices back and forth for the procurement system. It's less clunky. So just having the integration is also very important with all your other systems. So what can Punchout do for you? So number one, our customers always tell us that it makes the relationship much stickier with their customers. Is that, having that Punchout capability, we just notice our customer, we're able to tailor our catalog for them. We're able to provide them with custom quotes. They get promotional items, our pricing, and that it really tightens up the relationship with that buyer by just being Punchout enabled. It gives you access to all those customers that use eProcurement. So having Punchout capability, if you have university customers, big corporations, hospitals, government, they all, at this point in 2023, most of them use some flavor of eProcurement. It allows you to bid on requests for proposals with eProcurement requirements. You see it a lot now with government, with universities, that you must have Punchout capability. Even if they don't require or request you be Punchout enabled, you need to have that capability. And also, you can capture additional business from existing customers. You're making that order process simple. You're making it easier for them to buy you. And it's funny how other employees at that organization start to discover you. Once you're on the marketplace, other people start to discover your products, and they notice, wait a minute, we didn't know you sold these things. We currently have a contract for these items, but we notice you also sell these items. When they start to find their way around your other store categories and your other products. So there's a lot of benefit to that. And also, with streamlined quoting and standardized pricing with Punchout. And number one, you can win business over competition that doesn't have a Punchout catalog. We like to say that the most successful retailers and distributors, the biggest ones, they have all embraced it. They all use it. So it's important to emulate them, right? And being Punchout enabled allows that. And there's so many businesses that don't. So many generational companies, they just refuse to accept e-commerce, or they just want to do it the old way. It's fine. But if you have that capability, there's a lot of opportunity. How does it help businesses grow? Order processing, again, as I said, it's more efficient. There's no more faxed or emailed orders, no phoned in orders. Everything is automated. And it's transparent. So back in the day, if you had an issue with an invoice, they can't find it. Now you're going through all your emails, trying to find out when you sent it to them, on what date, and it just gets lost. Whereas now, if it's sent through automatically through our Punchout integration, it's visible. It's 100% visible, so you can actually trace exactly where that invoice is and where the issue lies. And you get paid faster. So that's the other thing with invoice automation. Say you have net terms of 31 days. We take that invoice from your ERP system, we send it to the eProcurement system. It's time-stamped from that second that it's added to the procurement system. So you will be paid within 31 days guaranteed. And also improve customer service. Your customer invests a lot of money and resources in eProcurement, so they want their suppliers to play ball with them and to use it. And so you're going to make your customer happy. So lastly, I'd like to show you just a quick demo of eProcurement, just so you can actually see how it works visually. I think it explains more than what I can actually tell you. So let me share my screen. Might take a second. Paul, can you let me know when you can see the screen?
Yeah, you're all good, Dan.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so as I showed you earlier in one of the slides, this is Coupa. This is how Coupa looks within their system. Please ignore some of these broken links. It doesn't matter. This is just for a demo. Some customers that use Coupa, they might have 40 Punchout icons. Some might have 3. It just really depends on your customer that is using the eProcurement system and how many suppliers they want Punchout enabled. But for our purposes, I'm going to click on commercebuild, and it's going to punch out to a commercebuild test store. So we'll give it a second. It's going to leave Coupa, and it's going to drop us into commercebuild, where I hit the submit button. It's going to validate us. And again, this is just for sample. This isn't a huge product catalog. It's just a test catalog. Okay, so what I'll do is I will add a product to our cart. Add 3. So I'll click add to cart, and this is very quick and easy. And all I'll do now is I'm going to transfer this order. So what we're going to do with a Punchout integration, we're going to take this shopping cart data and we're going to send it back to Coupa. So I hit transfer order. I'll hit confirm. And it's going to drop me back into Coupa. And there it is. Okay, so there's 3 light bulbs. And here, this requisition, your customer is going to submit this for approval. So they're going to submit this, and it's still requisition. And it'll pop up here. So it's still waiting for approval. But once it's approved, then a PO is issued, and we can send that PO to your ERP system. So yeah, it's really quick and dirty, but that's essentially how Punchout works. Pretty simple. So that's it. I hope that makes sense. Punchout is new to most businesses, but it really isn't that complicated.
That's great. Thank you so much, Dan. Yeah, and to everybody just on the call here today, that there is a Q&A button just down at the bottom there of your screen. You're welcome to submit questions as the presentations are going. and we'll get to those questions typically after each of the presentations. There was one that just popped in here actually, Dan, and the question is, once my customer is set up to use Punchout, can they punch out from their system just to view the status of invoices and orders, so they don't actually have to buy anything?
Sure, sure. I mean, they can essentially they can drop in your store to do anything, right? They just want to look at a product or pricing. Yeah, and that's what Punchout gives you, just their ability just to drop into any of their suppliers' e-commerce store to view orders, you view products, look at pricing, anything that they might have a question about.
Yeah. Great,
Absolutely.
thank you. Yeah, really the benefit there is from the eProcurement system, the user is actually logged in behind the scenes into your commercebuild store, and now they can do whatever you want them to be able to do in your commercebuild store and carry on. Dan, that was great, thank you. If there are any more questions that come in over the next 20 minutes or so, we'll try and get to those at the end. So just referring back to our graphic here, I really want to just kind of re-emphasize, why we have our third-party partners here. Punchout really is awesome for getting that kind of invisible middleware, as Dan was saying, between your customer and your ERP and your web store system. It really does expand that the capabilities and really the stickiness of your customers. So that's amazing. I want to introduce now Trevor from Plytics. And Trevor's going to talk about the Plytics PIM, so Product Information Management System. And really, in terms of why we get interested in PIMs, is because the quality of the data in your web store is paramount these days. If you're the ones with the complete set of data, the accurate set of data about your products, the ability to download PDF spec sheets or safety sheets, whatever it might be, you're the ones that people will go to because you're that great source of information. So yeah, I really want to introduce Trevor here, who is going to explain all about Plytics and what Plytics can do for you. Trevor, over to you.
Thanks, Paul, and thanks, Dan, for the good presentation, and thank you everyone for joining today. Looking forward to talking a little about product information management and showing you what our tool can do. So for those of you that don't know, PIM is it's meant to be a single source of truth for all of your product information, and really it's just a database at the end of the day for product data. So we've been talking a lot about ordering and whatnot, and we're going to kind of switch to talking about managing product information that you might have on your websites, whether that's descriptions and country of origin, statuses, labels, and all of your digital assets as well, of course. And so Plytics offers a solution where we can have all of that in one place, where the team can work on that information in one cohesive, easy to use platform. And then once that's all in a nice database, you'll be surprised at how much you can do with it when it's no longer in a spreadsheet. There's a lot that we can do. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit. So I'm going to do a small presentation, but really I want to get your eyes on the platform and really show you what it looks like to be working in Plytics. Because unlike Punchout, it's not necessarily middleware. It's going to be something that you'll be working in quite a bit. So we want to make sure that you get your eyes on what it actually looks like to be working in the system. So the easiest way to think about PIM and concepts of other technology is thinking of it like a CRM, where you maybe would have all of your customer information, but having it for your products. So all that product data and digital assets, the images, videos, and PDFs that you might have for a certain SKU is going to live in the PIM. And a lot of that might actually start in the ERP and then get sent into the PIM, where it's then going to get enriched with all that data that you might currently have in spreadsheets or be managing manually in some storefronts. And then we're going to kick it out from the PIM to whether that be your commercebuild website or create some catalogs or data sheets from it, or try to get that information to different marketplaces or comparison search engines, or to your resellers if you're reselling your products on different other retail sites or just resellers. And so that's kind of the flow of data. And really the reason why PIM is a kind of a hot word at the moment is because really e-commerce has changed a lot in the last 10 years. 10, 15 years ago, you could get by with just having your physical stores and then one e-com store maybe, or maybe just a couple of different channels. But we've really kind of grown into this space where you really need to have an omnipresence online and have your products in a lot of different places. And every new sales channel that you create creates a bigger issue trying to manage all that data and everything that's unique for all those different places that you might have your product information. And of course, all of your customers now have websites too. So we need to make sure we can get information available to them as well. Your products perform better on your resellers' sites if they're getting better information from you. Not taking screenshots from your websites and things like that. And really where Plitix kind of comes in to it all, PIM has actually been around for a really long time. It's been around since the early 2000s, and it's mostly just been for big corporations. You can think about IKEA, for example. They've had a PIM for a really long time, but they've been able to build their own custom solution, which is a very expensive thing to do. And there's some other solutions out there that are very enterprisey for big businesses. They're very IT heavy. They require usually full IT teams to be able to manage. And Plitix has tried to come in to offer a solution more tailored towards small to medium-sized businesses, but usable for any type of business that's easy to use. It's user-friendly, it's content-based, so it's meant for marketing and sales teams to be able to easily manage product information and then not have to worry about too many IT things to get that data to where it needs to go. And so that's really kind of where we've kind of fit into the market. And if you're trying to understand a little bit more about well, really a PIM is going to be useful for any e-commerce business, really. But these are kind of the main points that you might, pain points that you might have that Plitix and PIM can solve. So if you're finding that your time to market is just really a lot longer than you'd like it to be, if it's taking too long to get your product information to different suppliers, to your website, to your sales channels, or if you're finding that you have a lot of data errors that's resulting in bad reviews on your website or on different sales channels, or you find that your team is doing a lot of the same things over and over and over again because they're managing all their information in silos, those are all things that can be solved by using a PIM tool. So let's go ahead and jump in. I've got one other slide. This should have been before the demo, but just to kind of talk about a little bit of what we can connect with. Your PIM as that single source of truth, we can get it to places like commercebuild, your e-commerce store, using the API. We have an open API, which means you can get it to pretty much anywhere. But we also produce data feeds and e-catalogs as well that can allow us to get information to places like Google Shopping or Google Ads, Facebook, Instagram. We can also help you get your data to Amazon, Google, Walmart, and pretty much any retailer, really. Let's go ahead and dive in and we'll take a look and see what that looks like, because I definitely want to show you how we do that. So without further ado, share my screen. Like I was saying before, a lot of folks right now are managing product information that they can't fit in their ERP because the ERP just doesn't allow them to have custom solution or custom attributes, or they want to keep information in the ERP a little bit more secure, and they want another place for the team to be working on information. A lot of times they're using that data right now in spreadsheets. And so we've tried to actually take that and flip it on its head a little bit. What you're looking at here is the overview page, which is where you'd see all of your products and then a selection of different attributes that you want to display here. And you can see it kind of looks like a spreadsheet, and that's on purpose. We've really tried to make this very easy for users to use. Everybody knows how to use a spreadsheet. And like I said, most people have their data already in spreadsheets. So we can come in here and we can click on attributes and make edits just within this view. We can see our digital assets alongside of our products right here. We can search by SKUs, the search bar, and then we've got this filtering functionality that allows you to drill down on any attribute that you have in the system. So if you only want to look at a list of your completed products, for example, then you can filter by status and just show your products that are equal to completed. This is just going to give you so much more oversight about what products you have in your catalog that are missing information, that have errors, that need work, or just make it so much easier for you to get new products up and running and get them into your store and get selling them. So that filtering is really nice, and you also have the ability to create these different views to showcase different attributes, and that keeps everybody kind of focused on the data that they need to be looking at. So for here, you've got this marketing dashboard, which maybe the marketing team is using to look at things like descriptions and features. It also has some really cool like workflow attributes in here, so I can filter by validation and see these different stages that a product might be at in its development, or maybe even have different teams sign off on this product before it's ready to go live. So we can have these different types of attributes in here as well. But keeping in kind of making this all easy to focus, we've also got different views in here for, okay, maybe I just want to look at my Amazon information. So a lot of our customers have this data, or a lot of our customers used to have this data in 10 different spreadsheets, and it was all disconnected, and it was really hard for them to create a new product, because then they had to do all the work multiple times for all the different spreadsheets that they had all that data in, or even worse, they would be manually editing that information in all the different marketplaces or channels that they had their data living. But here we can actually have all the different views separated here. But if I change condition or product type in this view, it's going to update in all the views, and it's going to update in any place that it's connected. So what we're really trying to do here is make it so that you only have to edit your information once, and everywhere that it's connected, it's going to update across the board. And that's really the power of having that information in the database and not in a spreadsheet. Let me go ahead and talk a little bit about how we get this information in as well, and what the typical flow might look like for product information, so that we can also see kind of how this looks like in the full picture. So there's a few different ways that we can get information into the platform. We can create new products on the fly, which might be useful if you just want to create some products in draft, and then test out some development of products, or just create products manually. A lot of times though, what you're going to be doing is you're probably currently creating your SKUs in the ERP. And so what you want to do is connect that to Plitix and have information just automatically pop up in Plitix when a new product is created in your ERP. There's a couple different ways you can do that. You can do that via the API. So that's just something that you guys can develop to automatically generate SKUs in the PIM whenever they're created in the ERP. But another thing that you can do too is use our import feeds. And this is a functionality that allows you to download. It's basically like importing a CSV file on a scheduled basis that you might be getting from a certain source. So Sage definitely has this capability where you can export our CSV file onto an FTP server or create a data feed. And then you could just pop in the link here or connect to that FTP, set up your schedule for how often you want to import that data, and have all that information come in automatically. So that's going to be really easy for you to get your data in. This is also a way for you to connect to like a Google Sheet, or if you're working with suppliers and they're giving you supplier data in data feeds, this is a really easy way for you to get it all into one place. So setting up these feeds can be a really useful way to automate that process. And worst comes to worst, you can always just upload a CSV file as well. So this is just dragging and dropping a CSV file and taking you through a little matching process where you're going to basically match up attributes that you have in that CSV with attributes that you have in the PIM. I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Attributes are just data sets. So this could be your product title and descriptions, and we're just mapping up columns within a CSV with those attributes in Plitix. So it really makes it really easy for you to get all that information in. Once that data is in there, there's kind of two places where you can be working on it to enrich that data. You can do it in this overview page where you might want to filter by, created date of a product. Let me see if I have like standard view here. You have these created dates and these modified dates that become really easy for you to be able to filter by products that just were created today, and you want to start working on those views. And then of course, like I said, make edits right within this overview page. But every product also has a product detail page, which we can click into and see all of the information for that SKU. This is really cool because it's just one place where you can go where you've got all the data for this one product. And you can, of course, make edits here as well. Click in different information, whether it's a drop down. I should have mentioned this earlier, but there's multiple different attribute types that you can create in Plitix. Really, we only start with 6 system attributes, and they're over here on the left. So you can see thumbnail, label, status, SKU, GTIN. These are our system attributes. Everything that you see in the middle are custom attributes that I built for my information. So you can come in here and create rich HTML text using an HTML toolbar. You've got different drop downs and multi-selects, your digital assets. And so everything can live here in one place, and you can organize these attributes that you have into groups to make it really easy for the team to be focusing on, I just want to see my media attributes for this product, or I just want to see my information for Google Shopping. And alongside having these attributes grouped together, you can create these completeness attributes that give you the ability, it's almost like a little checklist for you to be able to see exactly what product information you need for a certain place that you might be sharing your information. Google Shopping is a good example. So it looks like this product is missing its GTIN, and that's something I can go in and pop in. I've got quite a few different attribute sets or completeness attributes here so that I can keep track of different use cases. Here's my Shopify one. If I wanted to flip to, let's say, actually, I can actually just search here. So if I see option 3 value is missing, I can type in value and go ahead and put in a value for option 3. And so it's going to make it really easy for your team to be able to see what's missing in your catalog. Where am I missing information, so that you're not sending product information to commercebuild and the different places that you sell your products. That's incomplete. That's definitely what we don't want. This detail page also gives you the ability to see a lot of different aspects of the product. So this, for example, is the assets tab, where I can see all the digital assets that associate with this SKU. It's basically like a little Dropbox for your product. You don't have to now go figuring out who's got what image on which folder on what computer. You could just go directly to the SKU within the PIM, and you're going to see all the digital assets that you might need for this given SKU. The same thing goes with the taxonomies that live in this category section. We can set up different taxonomies. We can set up variations for products as well. This allows us to inherit product information changes from parent products to child SKUs to really kind of keep that process speedy as well. So you don't have to update individual variations one by one. You can update them across the board with the parent product. We can also display different related items or replacement products, or included in a bundle type SKUs here with the relationships tab. And there's a nice little change log for us as well to see what's going on within this SKU and who's making what edits. So all of those tools are really meant to create this space where it just becomes so much easier for the team to edit their information, find where they're missing, find where those data gaps are, and just get data ready to go to market and ready to all these different places that you sell products. And then, like I was saying before, the beauty of having that data in the PIM is once it's all nice and organized, there's just so much you can do with the data. So that's where we come in with our brand portals, our product sheets, and our channels. The brand portals are really cool because it gives you the ability to create this online catalog of product information that basically displays your product in a very a very kind of almost little website looky way, but just kind of create a very small selection of products that you want to display. And the real kind of win with these is that you can customize what information goes on them for particular customers. And then this is actually where they can download a PDF of this product information just right here. And they can create data sheets just on the fly as well. So if you find yourself having to share product information with customers a lot, this might be a really great way for you just to give them a buffet of their own product information so that they can come in and say, okay, I want these SKUs and I want all this information. Really making it easy for your customers to get all the data that they need to properly sell your products on their website or wherever they're selling, and making sure that you're keeping brand consistency across the board. In addition to the brand portals, those PDFs are really handy as well. Let me share this tab again, because it gives you the ability to create PDFs directly from the PIM. You can also, so you could do that in those brand portals. You can also do that in the PIM as well. If you wanted to select like a few products here, I'm just going to show you what this looks like. So if I'm going to select these 4 products, I'm going to create a quick PDF of those 4 products. So I'm going to click on export, PDF, and we'll just use this portrait mode. You can design different templates with Analytics so that you can create these different types of PDFs and display different products information that you want to display. So that's going to go into your exports, and you'll be able to see. Give that another second. I'll explain the channels while that's processing, just in the interest of time. The channels are basically templated exports for your information. So now you've got your nice single source of truth of all of your data, but of course it needs to be in a bunch of different formats for it to get to where you need it to go. All the different retailers and customers that you work with require information in different formats. And that's what these channels allow you to manage way easier than having different spreadsheets for each of them, because what you can do is have different ready to go exports with product information in the format that's required for these different retailers. So Actually, let me go ahead and jump into the Google Shopping one. That one's a specific customer, but the Google Shopping one is a good example. So these might be all the attributes that Google Shopping requires for a feed that you want to use to get your products onto Google Shopping. You can come in here and change the output label for your attributes so that they're titled the proper way. You can come in here and resize your digital assets and transform your formats and transform your file names. You can even create computed attributes here to combine attributes that you have in the PIM to create something like that random Google Shopping title that they require. So you don't have to do that on its own anymore. You can build that from attributes that you have in the PIM. So that makes it really easy for you to customize exactly what data you want to send over, what information, and then you just choose which products you want to pass over. And so this is based on lists that you have in the PIM to create specific products. And then you set up your schedule for how often you want this to update. And really, you just have this link here that gives you the ability to pop it into places like Google Shopping and send that information right over. So this actually creates an automatic connection with Google Shopping, which is really nice. But really anywhere that you want to send product information, Amazon's a great example. You can set up this template to be exactly how you want your information for Amazon. Whenever you update product information in the PIM, you just click on Process Now, and that's going to create a nice new feed with all the updates that you made in the PIM. And then you just click on your link, and you've got a ready to go CSV file that you can upload into Amazon or any other marketplace that you're working with. So that way you can have your information in the right format for that CSV without having to manually keep it up to date. It really becomes a universal way that you can share product information. All right, I just got a minute left, so I'm just going to go back and show real quick that PDF that I was talking about. There we go, sorry. And so these PDFs are one of those things that nobody wants to use, but everyone does. And it's a real cumbersome thing to keep up to date. And so what we do is, instead of having to try and manually keep these up to date, is whenever you need a new one, you can just create a fresh one from the PIM. So that gives you the ability to generate these nice, sleek looking PDFs, not meant to replace any kind of big catalogs by any means, but really quick Excel sheets of product information that you can pass and share with your customers. Nice. I think that's it for me.
Perfect. Trevor, that was great. Thank you so much. I hope everybody's got a bit of a flavor there of what how Plytics can also fit into the whole kind of scheme of things. I really do think that since we've discovered or maybe uncovered the benefits of a PIM with Trevor's help, we're really starting to understand how a PIM can also sit essentially at the heart of your system, as Trevor was saying there, for product data, and really help you not only manage the product data for from your ERP, but also feeding out to your web store, and really impressively there, as you see, feeding out also the other channels that often we have to integrate with these days. There was a question that just popped up in the Q&A, and it was basically, how do you integrate with commercebuild? And it is a great question, because really there's the opportunity to integrate with commercebuild is, and I can quickly just show you actually something that we just did here a short while ago. The ability to integrate your store with a PIM really opens up some very interesting possibilities, not least one of those being the ability to have those PDFs that are always the bane of everybody's life. How do you keep those PDFs? Where do you put them? Dropbox, Google Drive, wherever it might be. How do you link them back to your web store, so that they can display? And so in this particular example here, and I'd be happy to take anybody through this in perhaps a one-on-one session, but in this particular example here, here's an item code that is actually integrating directly with my Plytics demo system. And in my demo system, I have some data like this particular content data here, this PDF over here, and some of these attributes are all just being pulled directly from the PIM. So now you have the opportunity to manage all that data, as Trevor was showing you, in the PIM, and then actually display the bits of that data that you want here in the web store. And the beauty there is then you're combining the data from your ERP, from your PIM, and also any data that you really do need in your web store. Images, yeah, somebody was asking there about images. Yeah, for sure. Images are a great thing. Trevor had lots of images there for some of his clothing items and so on. Really cool place to manage that data in the PIM. One of the things I really love about the PIM too is that as he was showing, you have these things called completeness factors. And so if one of those factors was, how complete is my web store data? That's a real great indicator. If you've got products in there that are 100% complete in your PIM, your web store is going to rock and roll. It's going to be superb. And the great thing there is that it's not just down to one person to manage that data. Then it could be a team of people, a marketing, a product person, a manufacturing person, whoever it might be, that is involved in getting that product data really up to scratch. We have so much more we can talk about with Punchout and with PIM, but I really wanted to thank Dan and Trevor. Thank you so much, guys, for your time today. Giving all the participants here a flavor for what Punchout and PIM can really do, within the context of an e-business solution. We are coming up to the top of the hour here, so I really just wanted to hand over really now to Zach, my colleague Zach, who essentially is everybody's account manager here on the call, for Zach to explain what the next steps would be if you do have any interest in following through on anything that you've learned today. Zach, over to you.
For sure. Well, a good way to get the ball rolling on anything that you might want to do with us, that's inclusive of PIMs and Punchout, and to set up a conversation with the gentleman we have here as well to review those more in depth for your use case. You can reach out to me. I'm pretty easy to give a call or an email, and my contact information is right here, zach@commercebuild.com. And yeah, we could get that connection happening. Another thing worth noting is that we also have another webinar kind of already spun up, and you'd already be enrolled in it if you're listening to this now. So you will either have the opportunity to join that if you like, or you should also get a recording of both this and that one after it takes place. But yeah, just to wrap it up, or to put a wrapper on the presentation piece of this, get in touch with me if you have any more questions, or if you do have more questions, we have another few minutes where we can answer them here, and I'm happy to do that. Sorry for bouncing around there. I guess we can give it another moment.
Zach, hey, there was one question.
Sure.
Thanks, Sam. So there, Sam was asking about images in the PIM. Can they link back or appear in Sage 300? Yeah, Sam, I'd happily take that conversation offline with you. I do believe there is some add-in now for Sage 300 that does let you display images, and that might be something useful for Sage 300. Certainly in the other ERPs like Sage X3, Microsoft Dynamics that we work with, that's inherent within the product pages there. I'm pretty sure Sage 300 does allow that, does provide that capability now. So yeah, definitely great question there. Oh, and one of the other things that also means, in the other ERPs where the image can exist in the ERP system, quite often we find the images that people throw into the ERP are usually, terrible quality, or, really don't represent the product too well. And so it becomes in the ERP, it becomes sort of like a memo of what the item is, but it really probably isn't going to be an image that is worthy of being up on your web store as an image that really shows off your product. But yeah, I'd happily chat to you, Sam, about that. Yeah, and other people were asking about integrating the PIM with Amazon and so on. So Trevor was indicating there, with the Plitix PIM, it has channels that allow you to send the data out to really any of these third-party marketplaces. Listen, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We wanted to keep this presentation to an hour, and I think we've just about nailed that down with some great questions. Thank you. Great presentations from Dan and from Trevor. Yeah, and as Zach says, if there's any interest in anything that you've seen today, he's your man. So please do reach out to Zach, and we will we'll get some one-on-one sessions with both Dan and Trevor fixed up for you.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan and Trevor, for presenting, and thank you all for taking the time to attend. I look forward to connecting with you about this and other things to come. And you have a nice rest of your day ahead. We'll talk later.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much, everybody.